but there might even be more. Hey, Dr. Thomas.
Hi,
How are you?
how are you?
Good, good. This is Tori. So I'm introducing her little square with her name.
Oh,
Hi.
Yeah, yeah. She's in Montreat. So we were just talking about how we have, did you go to Montreat or do you just happen to live there?
I am in my senior year at Montreat.
You are, okay. So yeah,
Yes.
so we have that educational partnership agreement.
I did hear about that, so
Yeah,
that's
good.
That was part of why I took a look at the school, and
Okay.
I'm very interested in the master's program.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's exciting. So, all righty. So I had one gentleman who had to cancel for this evening, so we'll catch up with him afterwards. But we're expecting 6 students then today. So yeah, this will be good. And Chelsea's joining us. And so Tori, so you're in your senior year.
I am.
Right. Okay. So are you thinking about starting in the summer or next fall?
Probably next fall.
Next fall. Okay. But you graduate this spring, most likely, or?
I do.
Okay. All right. And what's your what's your undergraduate degree in?
History.
History. Okay. Oh, yay. Mine
So
too.
I do have a few questions in the area of that, since I'm kind of bouncing between what my master's should be in.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll definitely talk about that today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. And welcome, Chelsea. Or is it Chelsea? Chesley.
It's Chesley.
Chesley. Okay. I bet you get that all the time, don't you?
All the time, yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Leslie. Hey, Lauren, how are you? Welcome.
Good, how are you?
Good. Waiting for a few more students, and then we'll get started.
Yeah. Lauren, where are you coming to us from?
Like what area or what school?
Yeah. Just where are you? Yeah.
I live in Taylorsville, so
Okay.
I'm like 10-15 minutes from campus.
From the Hickory campus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And Chesley, where are you coming from? I don't know if she heard. Oh.
Sorry, technical
That's okay. That was totally fine.
I live in Valdez.
Okay. So that's kind of in between, isn't it? Hickory and I'm in Asheville, so I'm on the Asheville campus where the program is based. And then Dr. Thomas is in Charlotte, but has her office in Asheville. It goes back and forth, and then also to the Hickory campus. So, and hey, Charlie, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Glad you're able to join us. So I think we have just a couple more students that are going to join us, and then and Charlie, where are you right now? What part of the world are you in?
Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
Okay. All righty. All North Carolina. So yeah.
I'm close to Hickory, probably about 35 miles from Hickory.
Okay. Yeah. So not too far away at all, either way. Even though the program's online, y'all know that y'all can always use any of the campuses, whichever one's closest to y'all if y'all need to. So you can use the facilities, like if you want to use the library, the main campus. In Asheville, we've got the library / computer lab / writing center, all kind of in one. But you can, meet with the librarians if y'all need some help for research, or if y'all write everything in using the APA style, which I think y'all do as well. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. And so just know that, we can get ID cards made and everything, even though your program's online, just know that you can use any of the campuses at any time as a student. So yeah. But all right. Well, what do you think? Wait another minute or so, or just go ahead and jump in and then let
We can go ahead and jump in and respect people's time.
Yeah, that sounds good. So what I'll usually do is I'll just introduce myself. So I'm Jan Wolf, and I am the Assistant Director of Enrollment. So I work with all of y'all for anybody who's applying to the Master of Arts in Teaching program. So I'll be your contact point, and we'll go through the application process. And then also after you're accepted, help y'all get registered for your classes and help with payment plans and finding discounts and ways to pay and that kind of thing too. So I'll work with y'all right up really until that first day of classes. And welcome. So who else? Oh, all the same. All right, so good. And so then, and Dr. Thomas, if you want to introduce yourself and
Sure. So I have a little PowerPoint. Do you want me to share that now, or do you want me to wait till later?
I think it's good. Go ahead and we'll just jump right in. And then what I'll do after Dr. Thomas shares her PowerPoint, which will be about the program, I'll go over enrollment, questions and things like that. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So let's go ahead and
Perfect.
get started. So welcome to our MAT information session. So as you already met Miss Jan Wolf, I'm Dr. Thomas. We both work in the graduate school, and we're just excited to have you all. So today we're going to just do like a quick check-in, talk about who we are in terms of the roles that Miss Wolf and I play, and then talk about, reasons to get your master's in art of teaching. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what our program offers and why we believe it's probably a great fit for you. And then we'll just conclude with a quote from one of our well-accomplished students. And then I'll turn it over to Ms. Wolf to open up for questions that pertain to her, or any questions that you have for me. We can talk about that at the end. And so let's first just check in. So if you could check in with your name, your pronouns, where you're from, and how did you hear about the program, and just share like 1 to 5 how you're feeling, whether it's 1 down in the dumps or 5 super excited. So who would like to share first?
I can go.
Okay.
So I'm Lauren. I use she and her pronouns. I'm from Lenoir, so like Caldwell County, right beside Hickory. I spent 5 years on the coast though, and just moved back last year. I knew about this program just from being around the area, and I mean, I grew up with Lenoir-Rhyne and App like all the time. It's all we ever heard about. So I was already pretty familiar with it when I started looking into it. And then in terms of how I'm feeling this evening, probably like a 3. I'm like, like I was really productive today, but I'm also starting a new job next week, so I'm a little stressed about that. But it was nice to have my last day at my previous work was yesterday, so I have off today, tomorrow, and Friday. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Lauren. I'm glad to have you. Who'd like to share next?
I can go.
Okay, great. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, so I'm Charlie. My pronouns are she and her. I'm from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and I heard about the program. I researched a bunch of different programs, and then I found Lenoir-Rhyne. I didn't really know that Lenoir-Rhyne had that program, but I'm like Lauren. I'm familiar with ASU, and Lenoir-Rhyne being where I live, those are the most common schools. And my son plays ball around Lenoir-Rhyne, baseball and stuff, and basketball. And I'm probably like a 4. And that's just because I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for work. So by this time, if I haven't had a nap, and I've been to Walmart and running kids around, so I'm probably about a 4.
Great. Well, good to see you again. Welcome.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Okay, who'd like to share next?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm Chesley Streeter. I can turn on my video, sorry. I'm just in my messy kitchen, so you'll have to.
No judgment here, no judgment zone.
So and there goes my child screaming across the house at the same time. So I'm Chesley Streeter, she and her, my pronouns. I actually already have a master's. I did my bachelor's at LR, so I'm an alumnus, and I did my master's in basically music history. But I've always wanted to be a teacher, and I feel like there's no better time to do it. So that's sort of where I am at the moment. And as far as how I'm feeling right now, I literally just came in from work right before this started, and I'm in the middle of cooking dinner and my child's running around like crazy. So I don't know what number that would be. Right.
You get it. Oh, well, I'm glad. Well, thanks for making the time to be part of this. We're glad to have you.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, I think who we have next, is it Tori?
That's me, yeah.
Okay, great. Go ahead and share.
I'm Tori. I'm originally from Southern California, but now I live in Asheville/Montreat. I heard about the program from one of my professors at Montreat, and
Okay.
I was interested in that. And since I want to be a history professor, so I'm interested in doing my master's in education. Still trying to figure that out, and I'm feeling great.
Good. Awesome. Well, great. Well, it's glad to hear. And I'm so excited to continue to just learn from you all and hear share with you all about our program, and just also learn more about your interests. So who we are is us. So this is Ms. Wolf. She's the assistant director of graduate enrollment. So she is all things enrolling you into our program and can answer all those questions in that regard. And I'm Dr. Thomas. I'm one of the assistant professors in the Graduate School College of Ed, and I'm also the MAT coordinator. So I'll be one of the many teachers that you'll have in our program. So that's pretty much us. And how are you feeling today, Jan? You 5, 4, 3-ish?
I'm
What's your
feeling
number?
pretty good. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty 5-ish right now, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
So yeah.
About 5-ish too. So that's great.
Excellent.
And so why MAT? So one of the things that I've gathered just from learning from our students is some of the reasons why they decided to get their master's in art of teaching. So if you may find yourself in this category or not, and that's totally fine. But a lot of students have said that they wanted to pursue teaching as a career or vocation after getting a non-education degree, just because they really felt God calling them to this field, and decided like, hey, you know what? I need to learn how to teach. I already have my content area. How do I teach, and how do I get going in this particular path? And also, some people are teaching and they need a license. No, we are not a residency program solely. So if you are teaching, or if you have at any given point in the program, you start teaching, that's great, but we are a master's program. So we do the totality of all things teaching, in addition to helping you get licensed to teach in North Carolina by supporting you passing the state assessment, which is EdTPA. And so just love to hear just from a few of you all. So, and I think some of us shared already why you all are interested in the Masters of Art of Teaching. I know some of us talked about becoming a professor and, already having a master's degree in a content area. Any of the reasons why you guys are interested in pursuing your MAT? And anybody can share. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit.
Well, I have been a counselor for 14 years, and so I would like to do something different. I've always worked with adults, but I have an interest in kids just because, I'm involved with my children's school and stuff like that, and I have kids. And I think I'm kind of burnt out on working with adults, so I would like a different population.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're so glad to have you. All right, let's keep going. So this is essentially what our program offers. We can support your licensure in these content areas: English, math, science, social studies, physical education, and music. And a lot of times those content areas are determined based on what you did prior to the program. So if you were, getting your degree, undergraduate degree in a biology, then we would probably gear you towards getting your content license in science. If you were a history major, then we would work with you to get your content area in social studies, mainly because at this point we do appreciate that you do have expertise in your content area. And what we do in our program is just throw on a whole bunch of courses, as you can see on the right, to help you learn how to teach. And so we focus on learning environment. We have a differentiated instruction, content methodology, all of these different experiences. And as you can see throughout, there's different opportunities for you to have internships and field experiences. So you can get time in classrooms in your content area with students in the secondary level. So that's middle or high school. Now, if you do, and I'm not sure if anybody is, there is one music, right? I believe one of our participants are music. That is a K through 12 license. So you can teach in elementary and in high school, or all the way up K through 12. And that's also the same for physical education. And so with these different experiences, you are going to be getting all of your coursework online. However, you're going to do all of your field experiences in a classroom in your community. And we have a young woman who actually helps place you in that community, Miss Reinhardt, and she does all of the legwork behind the scenes to get you placed. So that's not anything you need to do, but those are some things that you'll do alongside of your coursework. And so one of the best parts about it is that we have 34 credits. It's 100% online and it's self-paced. So there is no getting everything, having a live class. You can take your time and go through the material and allow it to seep in. And that's one of the best things about this. Does anybody have any questions for me at this point about the content areas or the courses?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, and this is going to be kind of weird, but like, what if there's a certain area that we are like super passionate in, but that might not necessarily be what our bachelor's degree was in?
Well, then we would definitely support you in making sure that you study really hard for the practice too. So and Jan will go into, Ms. Wolf will go into more about what some of the things that you'll do as you enroll in the program or you apply, but we do require that you do take the practice too. And that is a content specific assessment that ETS provides or has teachers, I guess. Yeah, ETS does a lot of tests, but it's a test that teachers need to take in order to get licensed, and you need to pass that. And so it may just be that, we can give you a lot of support to give you materials to help you study for that. But it would be easier if you got a license within your content area, because a lot of the materials that would be on the practice too, you should be familiar with because you already have your undergraduate degree. But it's not unheard of, and it's not impossible. So we could definitely work with you on that. The main thing is that if you feel that you want to do something outside of your content area, then we can definitely provide you support to do those things. So yeah, but that definitely is not outside the realm of possibility. And we've had some students do that as well.
Okay. All
right, well, we'll keep moving on. All right, so these are some of the tracks that we have in our program. And so tracks meaning the time to complete the degree. And so we have the 12-month track, which really is for people who start in the summer, and it requires 16 weeks of full-time internship, both in the fall and in your spring semester. Then we also have an 18-month track. So these, I know a few of us talked about starting in the fall. You could also enroll in the spring, and we have a spring enrollment here with us today. And so it does require two semesters that are part-time, like field experiences, and then a full-time 16-week internship your last semester. And then we also have a Bridges to Dreams program. And so this is for students that are currently at Lenoir-Rhyne University, and they can actually start taking courses during their senior year, and that's also a 12-month track. Okay, so why we think, I know Ms. Wolf and I are biased, but we think this is a great fit for you, and this is why. So one, it's 100% online, and you have a very interactive classroom environment from faculty that have a wealth of knowledge in the area of teaching. And you can be, as we've heard today, people all over North Carolina can participate in our program because it's 100% online. Also, there is face-to-face access to faculty that work in Hickory or Asheville campuses. So you have time to meet with your professor. If you have any questions, you can jump on Zoom. We're always open to speaking with you and helping you through any concerns that you have. Also, you can start any semester. You can start in the summer, you can start in the fall, you can start in the spring, and you can finish in as little as a year, with not only a licensure, but also a master's degree, which is amazing. And then it's convenient. So it's especially for people who are moms, like we have a few moms in our group today. If you're working, it's convenient because you're able to do your assignments in conjunction with whatever you're doing, and it's extremely flexible. And also your fieldwork provides hands-on experiences in your community. So wherever you live, we can we can work with the school district in your area to give you some really great field experiences that are going to be beneficial to you. And you have an option to pursue some online teaching graduation or graduate certifications after you're done. We have a lot of different ongoing certification programs that you will have access to as a result of being part of Lenoir-Rhyne University. And it's also a quick admission decision because Ms. Wolf is the bomb. All right, so this is one of our quotes from our student ambassadors. So we have an ambassador program where we have some students in that have recently graduated or getting ready to graduate, who are people who are willing to talk to you about their experience in our MAT program. And so Joshua, who wasn't able to be here today, just left me with a quote to share with you all because he's extremely passionate about his content area and music. And he is so excited to hopefully work with and get to know some of you all that are interested in pursuing your MAT in music. But he said that the MAT program at Lenoir-Rhyne has broadened the way that I serve students and has solidified my belief that no matter how long we have been teaching or doing any particular task, there's always room for growth. So he definitely has a lifelong teacher mentality. He's a great student and a great teacher. And that's just a picture of him with his students that he teaches band. I think it was like a band class that he was teaching. And so I'm going to pause here and kind of open it up for any questions regarding what I just shared. And then we can move on to some information that Jen has to share. So any questions for me at this time?
I have a question.
Yes.
This is more like, a question about whether I should do the program or not. As I said before, I'm looking to become a history professor. And so I'm kind of bouncing between whether my master's should be in education or history. If I did education, it would give me the opportunity to work with high school as well as college, but I'm not. Do you have any recommendations of what would be the better course?
Well, so I think that if your long-term goal is that you want to teach, right? And so any degree program that teach you how to teach, like ours, is going to be beneficial. I think one of the things, and I know Ms. Wolf can speak to that, is that a lot of times professors, they get to college and they have never taught.
Mm-hmm.
they never learned the actual practice of teaching. And you all have maybe even had some of these professors, right? There may be your biology professor or your science professor, and they just kind of like, they're brilliant, right? They know their content, but they just don't know actually the art of teaching. And I think this is what this program provides. This program will allow you to learn the art of teaching so that when you do become a history professor, you're the most amazing because you know how to delineate your content because you know how to teach. Now, a master's in education is not horrible, but I think, and I have one, so I'm not going to say that it's bad, but I still needed to learn how to teach. You know what I mean? And I think that I had to do that in a very hodgepodge kind of way because I did not get my master's in art of teaching. You know what I mean? And so I think when you think about like what would be beneficial long-term, learning how to teach, you know the content, you know history, but do you know how to share it with students so that they understand? And I think that's what our program can help you do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions for me? Okay, great. Well, I want to just leave our information here so that if you have any questions, you can definitely about enrollment or anything, you can send them to Ms. Wolf or Ms. Wolf. Are you okay? And then if you have any questions just in general about the program, you can definitely email me. That's my email address. It's our names with a period in between and at lr.edu. So thank you guys so much. So let me stop sharing my screen and then I'm going to pass the torch to Ms. Wolf.
All right, excellent, y'all. So let me do this real quick. Here we go. Sorry, I always do this slideshow. Here we go. Wait. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, here we go. So this is just a quick little thing I put together. Probably, can y'all see that now? Okay, yes. All right, so just a quick thing I put together. And so I'm gonna just kind of go through it a little quickly. Because it's kind of I don't want to be repetitive, but I do want everyone to get a quick little history lesson because I was a history major. So I like everyone to know what Lenoir-Rhyne University is. And, it's been around for quite a while now. And so here are the two, of course, old white men, yay, that always found colleges, it seems like. So this is who it's named after. And then we basically used to start out as Highland College. That's how it began. And then it was actually a co-educational, one of the very few in the country, much less in the South. But it was a co-ed institution. And we were given the Hickory campus area was all just kind of bequeathed to us, basically, when Mr. Lenoir passed away. So those of y'all who are near Hickory and have been on the campus, y'all know that it's very close to downtown, and it's a nice little stretch of property, and they're finishing up that nice Millennium Walk now, I think it's called, where you can walk from the campus directly downtown, and they've got a nice wide pathway. And if you haven't seen it, it's really very nice. But of course, we as a teaching program are based in Asheville. Y'all don't ever have to come to Asheville for anything. However, when it does come time for graduation and walking across the stage, you can choose to do that in Hickory if you'd like to, or you can come up to Asheville and you can walk across the stage there. So you'll have that choice, which is always nice to have. So anyway, I just had the picture of the Asheville Center. And for those of y'all who've not been up here, just know that we are located in the Montford area, which is a historic district, not unlike kind of the neighborhoods surrounding the Hickory campus too. And then we are on the second and third floor of the same building that we share with the Chamber of Commerce and the Visitor Center. So if anyone's thinking of moving to Asheville, it's a good place to visit. So I usually will talk a little bit, and we've touched on this already, but just why go to graduate school, which degree to get, of course, and which program to go into. But there is also, I shouldn't highlight this as the main reason, but there is a very good financial reason for getting your master's degree, and that is that you're going to be earning more when you have your master's. And Dr. Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong, did they just pass something in North Carolina so that they're going to be giving a nice little increase to all the teachers in North Carolina when you?
Yeah, I haven't double checked what the Senate decided, and I think that they did approve like this 10% increase, which they used to have before, and they got rid of it, but the 10% increase for teachers with advanced degrees.
Yeah.
So you kind of come out and you get to teach at a higher pay rate than you would if you didn't have a master's.
Yeah, definitely. So there's always that too, which is nice. And yes, it's a little bit politically charged, as it is in every single state, but we just keep our fingers crossed and hope that we get that 10%. So that's what y'all would be getting, higher than somebody going into teaching with their bachelor's degree. So let's see. And just kind of an overview of Lenoir-Rhyne Graduate School. We have around 900 students total across 3 different campuses. We have one down in Columbia, South Carolina, as well as the Asheville and Hickory, and then some programs which are online. The average class size for teaching, I'm going to ask you, Dr. Thomas, I'm trying to think. Seems like it's about 10 to 15. Does that seem about right? Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So still right in there with the average size. So yeah, what's unique about the teaching program is that it is one of the few that you really can complete in a year or 18 months, where some of the other programs stretch out a little bit longer. So, and then this just shows some of the other programs that we offer. And then I did have some frequently asked questions. We'll certainly be able to email y'all these PowerPoints later if y'all want to kind of look through them and everything. But this just talks also about the number of credits in the program, but then also working. going to school at the same time, just kind of balancing that as best you can. But just know that we are here and we do have some support services as well. So as a student, you have access to counseling if you would like it. You also have access to Career Development Center, so they can always help you with resumes, mock interviews, anything really. We have writing centers, so you have access as a student at Lenoir-Rhyne to all of those resources if you would like them. So just know that that's part of it. And then application requirements are kind of at the very bottom there. The application itself is very simple, just probably takes about 10 minutes to fill out online. And then what I didn't add here, but that we do like to see, if you have been out in the work world, we'd love to have a resume. You would all be what we consider career students, even though some of y'all might be traditional. Like I know you're, I was thinking, Tori, of you, you're in your senior year. But so what we do is we have not, don't have a requirement for the praxis upon admission. You have to take it at some point during your time in the program. And that's something that Dr. Thomas will work with Dr. Weddington, and really they'll decide, should you take this in your first semester with us? Can you wait and take it a little bit later? And that's usually just derived from looking at the your resume and your experience, but mainly at your transcript and seeing how many hours you have in your content area, what your undergraduate degree was in. And so if it's history, for example, and you've got 24 or more credits in that already, that's good. We like to see that. But then if your undergraduate degree was in counseling or MBA, then we would just want to talk about what area you have that passion for, what area you want to teach in, and then you would wind up taking the praxis too within that content area. And so we will help you and work with you with that, of course, before you have to choose. So the essay, I usually just tell everybody, please have fun with it. If you, and I know that Charlie, you've already been accepted, so just tune all of this out. But basically, for the rest of y'all, when you do apply, the essay, I want y'all to have fun with it. It's probably one of the last things you were ever going to be able to write in first person. And I'm not checking for a minimum number of words or things like that. I will make sure that you have that. And if it doesn't seem like it's long enough, then I'll email you real quickly and say you need to add a few paragraphs to this and explain why you want to become a teacher, why you want to go into the content area that you want to go into. But make it fun. Talk about I don't know, playing school teacher when you were 7 years old with some of your neighbors and friends. Or just watching Little House on the Prairie and you always wanted to be a teacher, just like Mary Ingalls, or like Laura Ingalls did. Or some students just think, I wasn't even thinking about teaching. I know that my mom was a school teacher for 30 years and she always made me promise not to go into teaching because she said, you'll never be paid enough. You'll never get a lot of vacation except for the summertime. So you'll never get to go anywhere and see snow. These were very surface kind of reasons, but it stuck with me. And I really thought I'll never become a teacher. But then, of course, I married one and both of my daughters are in school right now, both wanting to become teachers or professors. So I'm still surrounded by it and by education. And here I am still working in higher education and have basically all of my adult life. And so it really is one of those professions, I think, that when you get into it, and y'all know this from having been in school, that it really can, having the right teacher, taking the right class at the right time, whether that's in high school or in college, it really does stay with you for the rest of your life. And I think, to me, there's just no more of a noble reason to go into a profession than to just really want to make a difference in someone's life. And so I know y'all have had strong teachers that have kind of led y'all into this. And that's also what I want to kind of get at in your essay, is really what's the main reasons why you want to become a teacher, and why history, why something else like science or math or music. So And then just a recommendation. So official transcripts we will need from every place that you've attended, which I know might seem silly, but we will need them even if you just took one little bitty Spanish class, one summer in between your junior and senior year of college. If you were dually enrolled while you were a junior or a senior as an undergraduate or in high school. So even if it's just a 3-credit course at a local community college, we'll still need that official transcript. And I'm happy to use copies while we go through the admission process. But for the most part, we can wait and get the official transcripts just before you start classes themselves. And we'll be in good shape then. And then here are just some deadlines. If you're applying for the spring, then we would usually say November the 1st to get everything in. We would register for classes probably around early December. And then if you're thinking of the summer term, if you could have everything in by about March 1st, then that gives us enough time to make a decision and then get you registered for your classes towards the beginning of April. And so we can make sure we get all that. We say it takes up to 2 weeks, but usually it's more like 2 or 3 days. So it just depends on the time of year, I guess. But for the most part, we do it very quickly. Once we have all the bits and pieces of the application in, doesn't take that much time at all to make the decision. If you have not applied already and think that you will, then please type in teach or Jan, and that will waive the $35 application fee for you. And then just, stay in touch. I'll stay in touch with y'all after you've been accepted, and then we'll go through what the next steps are. And we'll probably have some more virtual sessions, and then you'll probably also at some point set up a Zoom session or a phone call with Dr. Thomas to go over your curriculum and what we will get you registered for the upcoming term. And she'll go over a plan of study with you at some point too. We'll also have an orientation the Thursday before classes begin. And so that's a chance to get to know more about the graduate school and the resources available. And then lastly, you'll have a program orientation with Dr. Thomas, and she'll go over all of those things just in detail one more time before the classes begin 4 days after that orientation. So, and then this is just real quickly about cost. And I don't want to give anybody sticker shock or anything, but that is the total of the program. It's actually a little bit less than some of the state schools, which I think is great. There aren't really any hidden fees. There are some occasional program fees that Dr. Thomas might go over with y'all, but nothing that's earth-shattering, nothing, that you can't, handle per semester. There are other ways to pay. So y'all see that the total cost, this may or may not change a little bit in the spring. If it does, it might go up maybe to $680 per credit hour. There's never a huge increase in that. So don't worry about that. But usually you can do payment plans. Certainly look for scholarships. Look around locally and ask the Elks clubs or local churches. There are always scholarships that go unawarded every year. So always look locally and try to see if you can find someone to just help pay for a new laptop, or maybe they can pay for your books, just anything. But usually there are organizations out there that want to help teachers, because in North Carolina, we really need to help our teachers as much as possible. There are also forgivable education loans. Sometimes your employer, if your county schools, city schools, there are charter schools and Christian schools, private schools that might all have tuition reimbursement deals. And that's kind of a nice thing to think about when you're being hired. They might not be able to compensate you with your salary the way that they would like to. And so some of them will instead be able to help you pay back your loans if you took any out. And then we are also LR partners with a good many of the counties in North Carolina or the city schools in North Carolina. And so if you work for or plan to work for a certain county or city organization, let me know. And if we don't have a partnership with them, then let's create one so that we can get y'all a discount of 10, 15, or even 20%. And that comes right off of your tuition. And then there's just the loans. So there's all the silver linings, but if you have to take out a loan, just know that you might get reimbursed. You might also be able to get a discount, but then if the worst comes to worst and you have to take out the loans, then you can take out a federal direct unsubsidized graduate student loan, which is $20,500. And I have not heard of anybody being turned down for these loans unless you have just declared bankruptcy or unless you have just not paid anything on your undergraduate or other student loans. They love to approve people for this loan. So just know that you can take that out on an annual basis if you need to. You don't have to take out the full amount, but whatever amount you think you're going to need. And so when you go through your plan of study, if you're going to be taking, 17 credits one summer and then just 9 credits in the following fall, however many hours you think you're going to be taking, we will make sure that you get that amount in terms of your loan. So you can also take out an advance on a loan if you are going to need some help. And so if you do need that new laptop or you want to pay for one of the tests or some books or other materials, you would work with our business office director, Jeanette McKee, and I'll hold some information sessions with our financial aid counselors and with Jeanette McKee so that you can go over how to get that advance on your loan. And we can do usually up to $500 so that you would get that sometime. If you're starting in the summer, you would get it in mid-May before classes begin. And then your loans will disperse early June. And that's when you would, basically be paying for your tuition. And we're just giving you that advance from the top of that. And so, and stop me too if y'all have questions about any of this. And so there is also this forgivable education loans for service in North Carolina. And since we are all here in the state and this is where y'all would be doing your teaching, just know that this is something that is a resource out there. You can start to apply as early as December the 1st. And this is done on a lottery system. And they'll usually just choose. And if you don't get it your first time, then you can always try again the very next year if you're still enrolled and then see. And what they can do is sometimes they can give you an award of, we say maximum of $4,000. I think that's actually gone up to $7,000 for a term. So that would be a nice little, quarter or maybe even a third if you take out that full student loan. And that's it. Then I've just got our contact information. So I'll go stopping share screen. So yeah, so any questions about any of that, enrollment or finances or anything? Did I scare y'all off with all of that? So I tried to have a picture of Oprah thinking, well, at least we can make it a light moment, even though everyone's gonna, a lot of students take out those loans. So, so I figure Oprah makes it lighter, but yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm working through, I've already done my application and I'm adding all the supplemental documents and stuff. And so I put in just the copy of my transcripts for now. I haven't ordered my transcripts yet.
That's
and
fine.
I got my resume and stuff in. The one thing that I don't have in there, and there wasn't a place for it, and this is what I was asking about, was the recommendation.
Mhm.
How do we get that to you?
Yeah. Yeah. We've got a new system, and so it's a little bit muddled at the moment, just trying to get the different things to be attached. So just email those to me and I'll make sure that they get posted into your application file. And that way, and then you'll see them too. So after you email it to me, or if somebody wants to email that recommendation directly to me, that's absolutely fine. I'll make sure it's posted in there. And then you'll still be able to log in and see oh, the recommendations come through. Now my application's complete. You'll get email notifications about that too. So,
and we just did one.
Just one is all that's required. If y'all have got more, we're always happy to have, the more the merrier, but just one is required. So, yeah. So, any other questions, y'all? Anything about starting in the spring versus the summer versus the fall, or content area? Nothing like that? Great. Well, good. Well, what we can do is that we're happy to send these PowerPoints to y'all if that would help. We can do that. I've also recorded the session, so we can also send that to y'all if y'all just want to, re-listen or have it reiterated again. That's just fine. And of course, you can contact us at any point. I am going to be out of the office for the next 2 weeks. Just have a little medical routine kind of a thing going on. So I've got 2 weeks where I'm out, but my emails will be checked by somebody else, and they'll they'll forward it to whoever it needs to go to. So if y'all are checking, like Lauren, if you do want to get your recommendations sent in, still have them email me. That's just fine. And then it will wind up going to the director in Hickory, and she'll make sure that it gets put in there, and we'll make sure it gets reviewed. So yeah. But all righty, y'all. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. Dr. Thomas, you want to? Yeah.
Thank you so much for here. I put our email addresses in the chat. So if you have any questions after we leave the Zoom, we'll still be available to answer any questions that you have. And we're excited to hopefully have you in our program.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for your time.
All right, y'all. Yeah. And Tori,
Thank you.
yeah, Tori, I was going to say, if you want to talk later on about history, getting your history master's versus because mine is as well. And if you want to talk about teaching and becoming a professor, I've been doing that, working a lot with my children about that. Children, they're 21 and just 20 years old, but you know what I mean. So yeah. So we can always talk sometime if you want to talk that through. I can share with you like what both sides of that would look like. So yeah. Otherwise, y'all, yeah. All right.
You guys have a great night.
Yeah,
Hopefully
have a really good evening, and thanks again for joining us, y'all. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely. Y'all take care.
One more quick question. I didn't want to ask too many questions if other people had questions. But this one is kind of like specific to my situation. So basically I was almost done with my master's in counseling, and I knew from the get-go it's not what I wanted to do, but it was kind of like what was expected of me to do. So I've done 7 years of higher ed, and now I'm here and changing my mind and saying that I'm not doing it. But so technically I'm like just like didn't go back this semester. And so I'm still in the process of like saying that like I'm not going to finish this program with like my professors there, but I really wanted to start at LR in January. So is that possible? Like, have you ever ran into a situation like this? Like, and like also with my student loans, like, would think I'd still be able to get student loans because I've taken out student loans for that program also.
Yeah, the student loans I can answer for sure. There is a cap on the amount of loans that you can take out. After that, then you could go to some of the private lenders, and there are several of those. And I would just put you in touch with Beth Miller in our financial aid office, and she would help you. She could give you a list of the private lenders. But yeah, there's also the North Carolina Assist loan, and that is meant for students who've taken out the maximum already of the federal direct loans. And that's going to be in addition to that, separate from private lenders. And then it just becomes a matter of, is there an origination fee? What's the interest rate? And you can kind of shop around and decide what's better for you. But yeah. And so you've taken how many credits towards your is counseling? Is it clinical mental health counseling? Or don't be embarrassed. I mean, plus you've got another fellow counselor, it sounds like, here with Charlie too. So she could probably give you some very good advice about that as well. So yeah.
All I have left is my practicum and internship, but I've also worked in community mental health since my undergrad, and it's just not what I want to do. I've always wanted to teach, and I've always been like scared to like go down that path. And recently I just decided that, you know what, I'm going to do it. And so that's just kind of like where we're at with it. But so all I have left is so it's a 60-hour program, and all I have left is 2 semesters of internship and a semester of practicum. So I pretty much almost did I think there's 36 hours that I have officially done.
Mhm.
Plus, I also have a graduate certificate in counselor education. So that was another 18.
Now, what is your undergraduate degree in?
Psychology.
Psychology. Okay.
But
Sounds like me.
I want to
Really?
teach math, like, and that's the
teach math?
weirdest thing. I love math. Like, I have the biggest passion for math in the world. Like, I've been studying for my praxis already, and like I've taken a few practice tests, and like it gives me joy to like do math. Like, I know that sounds so nerdy, but like it makes me happy and calms my nerves so much. Like, math is like therapy for me. And so I know that's really weird, but like it's totally off. And that's why I asked what I did about the content areas, is because that is like my heart is 110% set on math and nothing to do with anything that like my previous education is in. Other than like I took statistics courses and stuff through my undergrad and my graduate.
Okay. Okay. So Dr. Thomas, what do you think?
Well, I mean, if math is you, then just do that and it'll work itself out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so she would wind up taking like the Praxis 2 in mathematics, basically.
Yeah, and they provide practice tests when you go to the ETS website, and when you get enrolled, and I work on your, I guess, share with you your whole kind of program and what you need to do. I'll also give you all that information about like where you get tested, because there are testing sites all over North Carolina, and then give you the website. You can even check on there. It's ets.org, and you can get there. Yeah, they have all things are there. Yep. So as long as you're getting acclimated to that now, that's great, because that definitely gives you an advantage.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just say, and then I want to ask Charlie too, because I feel like this is your area, kind of, Charlie, since you're going from counseling to teaching as well. So, but yeah, I think in my mind, like, just talk to your professors. Where are you enrolled right now? In which program? Okay. I mean, just you can always take like a leave of absence, and decide. So you are very close to being finished. And you don't really want all that hard work to go to waste, but you do want to ultimately be a math teacher or professor. So my thought is that really any school district's gonna be lucky to have you, because if you'll do this and you'll get your teaching, master's, and you get your certification, that's great. Do that for sure. If you can do that within a year, but then I would still keep that door open so that you can go in and finish your program. But also, school counseling is something that, I know you don't really want to become a counselor, but when you think back to high school days and everything, I don't know if you worked really closely with your school counselor, but there are quite a few school counselors that also work with students in terms of, well, where are you going to go to college? What university are you looking at? What programs are you interested in? And I'm thinking that school districts will be absolutely hungry to find somebody who is also a certified school counselor, in addition to being a certified math professor or teacher. And I know for sure that this is not something limited to just North Carolina, that if you're teaching math, to me, you could go anywhere in the world with math skills, which is amazing. I'm jealous, because in history, that's it. They're just kind of like, oh, a history person, great, but math, you're so sought after. So if you, not that I've been thinking of leaving the US or anything like that, but my daughter goes to school outside of the country, and she, desperately wants to teach somewhere else besides America when she graduates. And it's just so hard to get citizenship in other countries. But if you have background in math, and if you can teach math, you can go pretty much anywhere in the world that you want to. So you're going to be a traveling teacher / counselor that helps as an advisor, like college counseling and advising. Just, kind of consider that. So you're going to be set. So, but Charlie, what do you think, since you're going from counseling to becoming a
I know the frustration, because I was talking to Dr. Thomas, and they don't help you as far as placement. So when you get to that internship and practicum, it's a pain, because you don't have any help and you're trying to beg places. And send emails and call and they won't respond to you, or they'll say, because of COVID going on, it's hard right now. And I worked in community mental health, and there's no way I'd get back to it. So I totally feel your pain. That was a tough job. I did it for several years. And,
I've been home. And
yeah, I did acting for a long time,
Yeah,
going into people's homes
so-
with severe and persistent mental illness.
it is, and like it's just and I'm glad I know what I do, but a lot of reasons that I went into like this field is because of personal experiences I had with my dad. Long story short, he was diagnosed with bipolar. Turns out he's not bipolar, he has a brain tumor. That's a whole thing.
Oh wow.
And so that was kind of what led me to this. And then I've just kind of, the more I've worked on myself and the more I found myself, I learned that like it was more, I'm a very like knowledge I thrive off of. And so kind of how I coped with everything that happened with that was like learning more about it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I've gotten on this education path that I've gotten with 7 years of higher education and clinical mental health and psychology, and then realizing it's not what I actually want to do for the rest of my life.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I just, I'm the same way. I got tired of, working with the same population over and over and with community mental health. So I wanted to change too. So I totally understand.
Yeah, community mental health is a hard one for sure.
But there's other things you can do, like Jen said, outside of community mental health.
Yeah. Well, good luck, and let us know what you want to do. And, if you complete your application and everything here and you do join us, but do check with App State and make sure that you can go back into that and finish it if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm on a leave of absence with them right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So I completed my summer classes and then took a leave of absence with them because it wasn't really what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sit on it for a little while, and I've sat on it for a little while and kind of figured out that like, okay, yeah, like this is the right decision for me. And so it's just now like logistically like extending that leave of absence for like, okay, like how long am I going to extend this? Is this going to be like a permanent thing? Am I ever going to go back and try and finish it, or what does that look like? So
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll work out and things will become clear. And is your dad okay now that they've diagnosed the tumor?
It's been a long 10 years. We've been doing this for a long time.
Oh my goodness.
And he actually we kind of caught us out of the blue last Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving, he got rushed back into the hospital and spent until after New Year's with 4 different surgeries, infections, a whole big thing. It had grown back and wrapped around his spinal cord and his bone. And so his carotid artery, it was a big thing, but he's doing better now. They did this new kind of radiation. It's called gamma knife radiation. It only lasts a week. And so they just did that, and he seems to be doing better now. He's back to work, and but yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah. Gosh, that's awful that it just took so long to be diagnosed,
Yeah.
as to what it was. Yeah.
He went 5 years being diagnosed and treated for type 2 bipolar before his eye doctor found that he had a brain tumor.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
So no wonder you want to get more into math. It's just such a black and white thing. Here's a problem, it's solved.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a black and white person, but I like black and white solutions also. Like I like clarity. And so like that is like in terms of I need clarity in some areas of my life, and that's an area that I can have a lot of clarity in.
Yeah, for sure. So, oh gosh, well, hang in there. And I'm glad to hear your dad's doing better. So that's good. Yeah. Oh goodness. Well, anybody else want to share anything or have any questions or everyone usually wants to hang on and see if anybody else has a question that might prompt something that they hadn't thought of. So that's what we usually do towards the end. So yeah, but anything else y'all want to share or anything we can help with? Yeah.
Would there, is there anything specific that I would need to do since I didn't see a history concentration? Or does that not matter in a just general education master's?
No, it would be social studies. So social studies encompasses
Okay.
history.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I guess when you get a chance to look at the praxis too, you know, like practice exams and things like that, go online and just kind of start looking, and you can do searches, you know, and they'll also have some too. It doesn't have to be the praxis website, but I've seen little, you know, mock exams and everything. So you can look at the different areas of history and everything, but it's pretty all encompassing. So, and you're getting your history bachelor's right now, correct? From Montreat?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. All righty, y'all. Chesley,